Change your thinking, change your life. And there's a reason that it's my talk this morning. It's because Unity put out a booklet. Change your thinking, change your life. And I have one for you before you leave this morning. It's a nice gift. See, you just don't know what's going to happen when you come to church. Change your thinking, change your life. Well, now we all know that that's true, don't we? Yeah. And so we know that it's documented in the Bible. It's documented in Proverbs in the King James Version. As you think in your heart, so you are. In Matthew, Jesus says, this is Matthew 8:13, go, it is done for you as you have believed. And in Matthew 12, he says, by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Who? You will be justified or condemned. What is this condemnation stuff? We don't talk about condemnation stuff here at Unity. We don't believe in hell. What is this condemnation stuff? You condemn yourself, yeah. We have the power in our own lives by what we think and what we feel and by what we believe to create our lives. And what we think, as we think it enough, it becomes ingrained in our subconscious. It becomes part of our beingness. Those words in John, and the Word became flesh. Isn't that what happens? Our word, the word we think all the time, becomes us, becomes how we are. Now, I'm not going to say that what you think is directly correlated to any actual circumstance in your life. But I'm going to say that what you think is correlated to the outcome of any circumstance in your life. Now, I've had some times where I have spent hours contemplating that. My thoughts create my life? You mean I thought and I caused somebody to hit my car? I do not believe that my thoughts caused somebody to go out and get in their car and drive down the street just in time to hit my car. But I do believe that my consciousness, my subconscious mind, which holds all my thoughts, all my feelings, all my beliefs, interacts with God mind on an ongoing basis, calling to me what I need in my life. I don't always get what I want, but I know that I always get what I need. And even if it doesn't look like what I want, no matter what's going on, it is there for a purpose, for my greater purpose, for me to grow and for me to move forward in my life, to get out of that stuck place. And I believe that that's true for you. Everything that we see begins with an idea in mind. Us sitting here in this room today began with an idea that Lynn had, that this building would be a great building for the church. And we started talking about it and thinking about it, and guess what? Here we are. It was an idea first. And this week, If you haven't been down, you can go a little ways down the hall. We got part of the area blocked off because there's chemicals on the floor taking up glue. But you can go down the hall a little way and you can see where we've opened up space to build a new hospitality area. Yeah. But it wasn't a hospitality area, it was offices. But we had an idea that we wanted a hospitality area. We had an idea that we wanted to be able to have parties and wedding receptions and do things here in our own building. We didn't want to have to go rent someplace to have a party. And so that idea of a hospitality area became sort of a mantra, and so that translated to the architect. And this week you can see how that's translating into an open space. Our thoughts build the structure, the foundation for our lives. Our thoughts become our belief systems, and it becomes the power in our life. And so changing your thought is critical if you want to change your life. And every time I get set and think I am right where I want to be and I don't want anything to change, everything is just perfect. Well, then that's when the universal mind of my eye decide that, hey, Beth, you got to step up higher. And I know that something else will happen, that something else will change, that there will be something else that I will see probably first as an obstacle, a challenge. Something will come along. And as long as I'm seeing it as an obstacle, what is it? It's an obstacle. If I'm there and all I can think is obstacle, that's all I find. But the minute I can shift my focus and shift my thought just a little bitty bit, and just a teeny tiny bit, and say, it's not an obstacle, it's an opportunity. The minute I see it as an opportunity, I begin to be open to other options. It's like when we talked about where to put the sanctuary in this building. You know, we looked at putting it here, we looked at putting it at the other end, we looked at all sorts of things. We were open to options. And that's what we have to be in our life. We have to be open. And so, Kim, what does your little card say on there?
Every moment is a new opportunity.
Every moment is a new opportunity for a new thought, for a new option, for a choice that we get to make. And if we don't like our life the way it is right now, you know what? There is great news. All we have to do is change our thinking. Change doing one thing. You know, if every morning you got out of bed and you sang a song, a happy song, put on some happy music, you would find that your day would change. So, Tom, can I share what you told us at the board meeting the other night? Do you even remember? He walked at the board meeting. He said, you know, I had kind of had an yucky day. And on my way over here, I started thinking about all the things I was grateful for. And he said, so now I'm okay. So what if every day you took some time to just write down what you're grateful for? It would change your day. It would change your life. It would change how you look at life. It would change how you find life. You know, it sounds easy. Change a thought, change your life. It sounds really easy. But there is that story in the Bible about wineskins. Does anybody remember what it says about wineskins? Don't put new wine into old skins. And does anybody know what happens when you put new wine into old skins? They split, and you lose your wine. So what that means is, when we first try to change our thoughts, when we first put that new thought in, there's going to be a little bit of problem. There's going to be a little chaos in your mind. I think that we see that in our country. When you look across the spectrum of people who might, and I don't want to use the word, I don't want to use any politically charged words. If you look at a group of people that have a very strong belief system that things can only be one way, and someone says that a belief could change, that something that they believe might not be absolutely 100% true, we have some disharmony. Was it Galileo that said that we circulated the sun? Was it Galileo that proposed that, and everybody else thought the sun circulated us? And he was persecuted for that belief. Well, what happens is we start to change our mind. We start putting a new thought in. All those old thoughts and all those old beliefs are going to come up and say, no, 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 no. Or worse. So it takes some concerted effort. And so that's why I'm suggesting that you do things that are sneaky. Like sing a happy song in the morning. Your mind can't object to that. Just do it routinely and let it slowly, gently work in. Use an affirmation. The reason we give you an affirmation every week, so you slowly, gently, easily put a new thought in your mind. Tom's idea about thinking about what you're grateful for. You take your mind off of what's wrong and move it over to what's right. Just slowly, gently, easily change your thinking. Change your thinking, change your life. So I read all sorts of things, and I get all sorts of ideas from all sorts of things. So I was reading a book, and it's a book on writing novels, and it's called Write Your Novel from the Middle. It was interesting, and the author had a great point that applies to our lesson this morning. He said, if you look at the midpoint of every story, there is a moment that tells what the novel or the movie is really about. You see, the character is going to have to face a death of some kind in the story. 3 kinds of death, and one or more will confront the character in bold relief, right smack dab in the middle of your novel. A great novel, a great movie, is a record of how a character fights with death. That's right, death. Somebody is in danger of dying, and that someone is the lead character. Now, you can listen to all of this and not think about the novel. Think about your life. You are the main character in your life. And someone in your life is in danger of dying. There are 3 kinds of death: physical, professional, and psychological. Professional, a novel revolves around the lead's call in life. The failure to win could be that their career is over and their future is at stake. And psychological, wow, when I read this, I mean, this guy could be a minister, dying on the inside. We say that about certain events, so we should say it about the lead character. Imminent death of dying, psychologically, if the conflict isn't won. It's crucial to understand. And that's really what we're talking about. You and I face psychological death in every moment. We face psychological rebirth in every moment. Now, I didn't quite believe this. He gave some examples, but I went out and I looked at a couple of books. Now, I looked at a bunch of books online. They'd all worked, but I actually had one of Kay Williamson's books that she gave me that I had it. And this is very subtle, midpoint in this book. And you, Christina, are one of the friendliest, down-to-earth people I've ever had the good fortune to meet. I forgot to add that you're charming and gorgeous, and I think I'm falling in love with you. I wondered if he could hear my fluttering heart while I tried to find words to answer. I sat like a dummy, too tongue-tied to speak. Lance squeezed my hand. I guess that shocked expression on your face means something in the absence of your words. Shaking my head, I chuckled. Lance, you're full of surprises, and leaving me speechless is becoming a habit. Thank you for the lovely compliments, and I could well be falling in love with you too. It's just that it's all happening so fast. In that moment, in this book, she realizes that she loves the character. Now, in our lives, it's a little bit different. Might not be a love story every time. I'm going to tell you about someone who was a true story about a woman who was born in Stamps, Arkansas. And she was self-described as a born loser. She was born to a broken family. She was born in poverty. She was raped at the age of 8, and due to that trauma, she did not speak for the next 5 years. She was an unwed mother at 16, and she tried to support herself and earn a living in many ways. She was a dancer, a cocktail waitress, a Creole cook, a nightclub singer, a madam, a streetcar conductor, and the first black female fare collector in San Francisco, and she was a civil rights organizer. It was about that time, now here's the midpoint in this story. She decided if her life was going to get better, she had to change her life, change her thinking. She had to realize that the past did not determine her future. And she had to grasp and pull herself up and tell herself that she could be created anew. And that's something that all of us at some point in our life have to do. We have to say, whatever has happened before doesn't matter. Today is what matters. What I think now is what matters. The lady decided that with God, she could turn her life around. She started to learn. She started to read. She started to fill her mind with possibilities, not of other people, but possibilities for herself. Who was it? Maya Angelou. Yeah. Wow. When she stood and read the poem at the presidential inauguration, you didn't think about born in poverty. All you saw was this graceful, beautiful, strong woman. She changed her thinking. She changed her life. I have another story, and it's out of the 1920s. There was a woman who had cancer throughout her body. And they said it was an impossible thing. And keep in mind that in the 20s, they didn't have any of the treatments that they have today. They told her she would die. Her name is Georgiana Tree West. And she started to say to herself, and this is her affirmation, either this God is real or the whole thing's a lie. Either I can prove my faith today, either I can communicate with God, or it's all false. And she started to decree healing. And the healing came. And that's not to say that there wasn't any pain in the meantime. And it's not to say that there was not any struggle. But she had a healing. And after her healing of cancer, she then faced lack and limitation. And she thought, if what I believed about my body, if I can change the thinking about my body, I ought to be able to change my mind and change my thinking and change my life about prosperity, about relationships. She went on and she wrote a book called Prosperity's 10 Commandments, and we have used that as a sermon series in the past, and we may well do it again. She had that moment, that midpoint moment in her life when she said, okay, is this stuff real? Do I believe it? And am I going to put it to use in my life? And so every Sunday we come here and we talk about unity principles, and we talk about that there is only God. One God, God good, omnipresent, all-present, all-powerful. And then we talk about the fact that you and I are an expression of that God. And that our third principle is that we can communicate with God. That God hears and knows us, and we can hear and know God. That we can have divine inspiration. And then our fourth one is our thoughts create our world. The power of our thoughts. Sometimes we say thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. It's a principle, it's a belief that our belief system, our unity, believes. And our fifth principle is that, hey, if you believe it, you got to work it. And so if you're sitting there miserable, and believe me, I know I have been miserable. I know how to be miserable. I know how to do it real well. I have asked some friends that if they hear me bitching, moaning, and complaining, and that that's all I do, would you please clue me in that I'm on the wrong track? Because I can get on that depressed track where everything is wrong, where nothing is right. And all it takes is a wake-up call, a midpoint in the novel, a place for me to make the decision, oh, in this moment I can change my life. So I don't know where you are in your life. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know what you're facing. I don't know what problem you have. I don't know what challenge you have. But I know that with a choice that you can choose to think in a higher way versus a lower way. You can think with God mind, or you can think with your little ego that knows no way out and can see nothing but trouble. When we align ourselves with God mind, we can do anything. We have the power, ability to go through, to do anything. This week's lesson is change your thinking, change your life. And when you leave today, when you walk out, somebody is going to give you an opportunity to do that. Somebody is going to press a button. Something is going to press a button. And you have that moment, that flash of a moment to say, oh, am I going down that road again? As I find myself cursing the people in traffic, I can hear myself doing it, and I can say, okay, Beth, you have a choice. Are you going to curse them or bless them? How are you going to bless them? Are you going to see them getting to where they're going safely and happy? You're going to put white light around them? See them protected from their bad driving? It is a choice, and you and I get to make that choice. And I'm joking and making light of it. But it is that simple. No matter what's going on in your life, you have a choice of the thoughts you have about it. We have these books to give you today. They are daily words in our hospitality area. There are places where you can find positive things to read. There are positive songs you can sing. If you have a question, how do I find this positive stuff? Read a daily word. Go on to YouTube and listen to Karen Drucker, Daniel Nahmod, Richard McDeasy's, all the people that we sing their songs, Carl Anthony. What is that shortening bread song? Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. What if you started every day singing that? How would that change your life? Have a great week.